the interesting thing I was thinking was it's really funny because people know they need to put out content and they think that they just need more content and that's going to solve their problem. But like I said before, they don't have a strategy. That's obviously where like we really come in. But my point was, I was actually really thinking about just creating an agency just to put out content for the sake of content, to bring people in and educate them that this isn't going to solve their problems, you know. I didn't do it in the end because I don't really want to run a video agency, but it was just something that I was thinking about because like that's what people think they need, but they don't. I mean, I've had so many people do that and they come back 6 months later after they had that one day turn into 6 months of content and it's done bugger all for them.
So let's just absolutely dive in. Lauren, I know that I think I know a lot of people will see like your presence online and think like, holy heck, she must be grinding 24/7 to create that much content. And I mean, we both know that content is literally just the tip of the iceberg. But I would love to go just like a little bit under the hood and see what's the actual infrastructure holding your business together behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, it's a great question because with regards to content and what I see people doing, they're spending like 5 to 10 hours a week making videos and podcasts and writing stuff. But personally, I'm spending 30 to 40 minutes. And I've actually even now got it to the point where like the AI will do the majority of the work and then I'll pull the content from the AI onto a doc. And then from the doc, I'll review and I'll make edits. And so I wish I could say it was more like fancy than that, but like with regards to the content piece, it's literally just me and then I have a VA that does the posting. And so roughly in total, I'm spending like somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour. The rest of the time, other than, you know, the creating with the AI that I just went through, is basically like on a daily basis, I'll tend to post a story on Instagram and Facebook. And I prefer to think about that like on the day because I'll look at what had went out the day before and see like how many leads that one got and then I'll either you know post something very similar or something a little bit different depending on what we're promoting at that time. So that's on the content side. I can obviously talk about like the rest of the infrastructure, but it's
Yeah.
actually it's really lean. Like I used to have a team of 47 people back
Oof.
in 2020 2021. Actually now it's just
Wow, that's
six.
a big difference.
Really big difference, yeah. And so I really do give thanks to shifting from just doing like one-on-one selling to one-to-many selling, which is, I know what you're all about. That's one
Mhm.
thing. And then the second thing is obviously with AI. So
Yeah.
with those two things, it's actually allowed me to build like a, you know, maybe the term is a bit more cliche, but like more of like a lifestyle business, which I really love because like that's why I got into this, right? Like to build a great lifestyle, not to build like my life around the business, which I definitely fell into that trap for a while. There was like maybe 4 or 5 years where I was quite literally working like, I don't know, 14 to 16 hours a day with a break to go to the gym, which was like my break, right? It's not really a break to just go listen to a podcast on double speed in the gym, right? Or like an audiobook, but I thought it was a break. So that's kind of like how the infrastructure is looking right now. And to be honest, this is like the most I've been enjoying business for like a really long time. It was getting a bit, you know, stressful and whatever when I had that really big team, but this feels a lot better.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's a big gap to go from 40 plus to where you're at now. And fantastic to hear too, because a lot of people are like, they get into business because they're like, they want the lifestyle, and then it ends up becoming such a job that they can never leave and they're the bottleneck. But it sounds like you've put systems in place and you've put AI support in there and a bunch of different things to make it so you can be traveling. Because you said you're in South America right now and you're just, traveling all over the place for a couple months at a time, which is amazing.
All the time.
All the
All the time.
time. What
I
would you Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't even have like an actual home base right now.
Which is crazy to say, right? People are like,
Yeah.
"What? How do you not even have a home base?" But if we go back to like the content side and somebody that's hearing you go, "How in the world is she only taking 30 minutes?" What would you say most content creators are missing when they're thinking about putting content out there, excuse me, and um, making sure that they are still visible in the space.
Yeah, so I think people overcomplicate content massively. So they will see what someone's doing, like a Tony Robbins or like a Russell Brunson, right? And they'll look at the type of content that that person's sharing, but they won't know the back end of the business or like the hidden economics of the business, right? So for example, like they'll see someone doing something, posting all this stuff, but what they don't know is like that person isn't using social media for the same purpose as what they're trying to use it for. So someone like Tony Robbins, right? Like he's mainly using it for like brand awareness, right? Community building, not necessarily like direct sales, because he's spending millions of dollars on ads, right? Or hundreds of thousands on ads. I don't know how much specifically. And so if you're not running a business with like that type of level of infrastructure, you can't do the same type of moves that that type of person is doing, right? So I think the number one mistake they make is they'll copy what others are doing, but they won't understand why that's working or what the strategy is. And most people, and I've worked with thousands of clients on social media content strategy, even really big brands don't have a strategy.
Isn't it amazing?
They don't have like they have content, but they
Mhm.
don't have a strat. And so I'm just like, well, the first thing we have to do is have a strategy in place, right? So like even identify what you're trying to do with this. Because it's like
Mhm.
people know they need to do it, so they'll do it, but then it will be content that fills space and not content that drives results. And so they kind of need to go back to the drawing board and identify like what they're trying to do with this, who are they trying to target, what platform should they even be posting on, and what style of content suits them. Just because like let's say podcasting works for you, right? And video works for you doesn't mean that it works for somebody else or somebody else, right? So like for
Mhm.
me, for example, I have this massive resistance to video content. I really don't like it. I honestly really hate it. And so I just don't do it really that much. I just do written content and it gets me millions of views a week, right? Just via written content. And so I think that coming back to your initial question, ultimately, people forget that there's like, imagine like a dotted line, okay? Just like a horizontal line. In the middle of the horizontal line is like a vertical line, okay? And on one side, you have information that you're speaking to your clients about. And then on the other side, you're having information in which the public needs to see in order to make a buying decision. They're not the
Mhm.
same thing,
Mhm.
right? So we have to have social media public facing content for non-clients that speaks to them in a way that meets them where they're at right now, not content which is speaking to the current client in the process in which they're going through and where you're educating them and teaching them.
Mhm.
So like in my world, right, I'm typically working with like a lot of people who are experts in their field, they're consultants, maybe they have coaching programs, courses, and offers like that. They're in this habit of educating all the time, but they have to stop. And they have to realize, like, in the end, with regards to social media, there are specific ways you need to format your content and it will get reach and leads if you format your knowledge in that way. And with AI, it's very simple. You just got to train it one time and then it kind of just does it for you and you keep track on the analytics and from there it's more or less self-correcting, right? As long as you take the data and re-input that back into the AI. So I could talk about this a lot, but
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think what I'm hearing in there is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think both you and I are kind of obsessed with the offer first model. And like that's how just we build everything. So, and I think yet so many people are trying to market without that rock solid offer underneath it.
Mhm.
Um, do you want to go ahead and like let's break down what actually makes an offer scalable and how you've designed that for the content to serve that first?
It's true because like I for a while had a lot of resistance to putting out loads of content that I knew would get me a lot of views because I I know how to do that, right? So I just wasn't doing it because I was worried about getting tons more clients through the door because I was concerned about the ability to serve them,
Mm,
right? So it's quite interesting because let's just say you're someone that knows you need to create content, but you're having a lot of resistance to actually posting it. Or let's say sales calls, right? Like you know you should do sales calls, but you keep telling the person, oh, it's okay to think about it, right?
yeah.
Oftentimes, right? Oftentimes what I found for myself, my clients, is that that's some type of subconscious self-sabotage because there's some reason as to why we don't believe that we can serve the client or get them a really good result, or like, are we even worthy of getting this client, right? So there's a lot of like inner game that definitely goes on here. But if we're looking towards, for example, like content and bringing that towards clients and everything, I found that if you know who you like serving, it becomes very easy to want to put the content out because you know that you've got a container to put those people into, and you know that you actually like working with them, and then they're not going to cause you problems. Because if you know, if you associate a client with a problem in your mind, right, which is what a lot of people do, then obviously they're not going to do the actions necessary in order to generate the clients and to generate the business. So like for me, what's been kind of interesting is that, like, as I was looking at my business and the way that we're serving our clients, more or less everybody needed the same thing, right? Whether they had already like a big brand and a big audience, or whether they were like totally brand new, it just, there's kind of just like an initial period where like some of them have to go towards like building some initial traction, right? So like what I realized is that, to be honest, even though, yes, I love working with these really big brands, and me and my team will work with like a small number of those at any one time, trying to do that and scale that up isn't necessarily the thing that we wanted to do, right? So we'll do that a little bit just for maybe credibility, because I think it's a good idea to have a couple of like really high VIP clients, who you can then use to get the testimonials and everything. But most of my clients, yeah, as I said, they were needing like the same thing. So basically, I shifted my whole business back into group, which is what I was doing like 6 or 7 years ago. But I kept hearing, you know how in the market you'll always hear like you need to do this one-on-one and that. And it's like, okay, cool, like I'll do that. And it actually got worse results for the clients.
Oh, shoot.
And it was
That's
taking
crazy.
so much time. Yeah, like it was taking, because what I found is they started treating us more like an agency. And
Yeah.
when they were treating us like an agency, they were also kind of treating us like a freelancer. Okay. And this was super interesting. And so there was less like they were giving me and my team like less credibility than they give when it's in a group environment. It's super interesting.
Hmm.
I think the psychology there's like really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
I also heard the same thing from a couple other people who have like actually very big coaching businesses. They added like a done for you type of service and a one-on-one service, and they had the same type of feedback too.
Hmm.
So that's quite,
Or
have you
it's
seen?
just like a part of their team. You become a
Right,
part of their team. And then it's
exactly.
like employee, oh, you're just an employee, you're available all the time. That's like, no, I'm not. Yeah.
100%. Whereas then when they're in like a group, in a group coaching mastermind type of
Mhm.
container, like they treat you with so much respect. When they come to a call, like they'll come prepared and everything. They'll follow the guidelines that you set for them. So this was like a really interesting thing. And then I was like, huh, maybe like the same thing will happen in sales. Could that be? Right? Like, could that be? And I was basically sitting at the table at this mastermind with this woman, and she said to me, she was like, oh yeah, like we sell 10K, 50K, even 150K packages on 3-day events. I was like, what? I was like, nah, you're kidding me. Yeah, she was like, we don't have a sales call. I'm like, you're having a laugh, are you? You're having an absolute like, are you kidding me? So I literally left that event and I tested it 2 weeks later, right? I sold 136 tickets for this thing. And I think 12 people basically upgraded into this VIP option, which we just randomly put together, right? Like they came on Zoom with me. And we sold 12 of this 10K offer. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? No
Mhm.
sales calls. I'm still so shocked as I tell you this right now. I just couldn't believe it. So this was even quite recent, okay? And so now this is like giving me so much energy. Like I'm so friggin' stoked about this, pardon my language, but it's the coolest thing. So yeah, so you guys are selling a lot of high ticket on events as well?
That's all we do.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's all yeah, it's all we do to support our clients is selling high ticket from a 3-day sales and enrollment event to make multiple six, if not seven and eight figures from the stage in 3 days. Yeah.
Okay, this is so interesting because like I straight up like if when I'd have met when we met, like it wasn't even that long ago, if you told me that, I don't think I would have believed you.
Until you had that experience.
Until like well I was just because I was sitting with this person and like I really like had heard good things about her as so much, and like I'd just been at this event where they were talking about like all this one-to-many selling, so I kind of had a bit of belief. And then when she told me that and started like showing me some stuff, I like believed I could do it, you know? It
Yeah.
was like that, it's like that psychology piece like in content as well. it's one of the things with regards to like social, just going back to that, like there's always the testimonials that you can provide that kind of shows like others can do it, right? But then it's like, how can you make them believe for themselves they can do it? So like what I always do is I make them in my trainings, like I always make them take an action,
Mm-hmm.
right? To make them take the action and see the result. And then they're like, oh, this will actually work for me. So it's like, I think I needed the same thing to actually
Mm-hmm.
believe it was possible because it
Mm-hmm.
had been so, like the last time I sold something that was only 2K, which was on a webinar, was in 2018.
Oh, wow.
It was
Okay.
so long ago, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't even know that it was a thing.
Yeah, the event space has changed so much since pandemic.
I
And then
bet.
after, it's just crazy what's happening now. Um,
What's the craziest thing? Like the top two or three most craziest things that you're seeing in the 3-day online event.
well, one, a lot of people are coming back because of AI, because
Mm,
everything is getting automated and systematized and kind of sounding the same. People are wanting to be back in person
mhm,
and
mhm,
see face to face and meet people and network and connect. And, it's becoming more important again
mhm,
because then I know, it's not just your team in the DMs talking to me, it's like me actually talking to you type of thing.
right, right, right.
And is it actually working? Because you do have the success stories and you do have the inspirational people that are also there that are getting crazy awesome results and you're seeing it there live. And you can go
Mhm.
and physically talk to somebody that was just up on stage saying how that process worked for them in
Mhm.
their business, right? So
So
it's super tangible.
you're doing in person only or online as well.
No, we do all. We do in person, we do virtual, and we do hybrid.
Which ones do you, okay, I guess the hybrid ones usually do the best, is it? Or what usually does the best?
On hybrid, you have to be careful because it's essentially two events when it's done correctly, right? You have to
Mm,
have two teams. You have to have a team that is really loving on the virtual audience at the same time as the team that's loving on the in-person audience. So when
mhm,
we do it as a hybrid, which we're going to do one in about a month for one of our clients, we have two teams. We have
mhm.
two sales teams. We have two interactive logistics teams that are working with. So then one side or the other doesn't feel like the ugly stepchild, right? And they're just here looking at it, going, okay, that's cool, but I'm just watching something happen versus being
Yeah.
engaged with it. So we have a whole
Mm,
separate MC for the virtual stage that we do from the in-person stage, so it's a whole thing. Yeah.
interesting. Oh, that's pretty cool. I never thought about that to do a virtual slash in person at the same time. That, yeah, that's intense.
It's intense. It's intense. It's not for everybody. You build up to it for sure.
Mhm,
But I want to be able to like go back. So you started talking about AI supported like organic marketing,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
That's like all the rage right now. I think some people can see it being super overwhelming, but have you found a way that it really like amplifies the work that you're already and I'm curious to know, like, how are you using AI to strengthen your message, scale your reach, and also lighten the load for your team while making it really personal with the audience?
Yeah, yeah. So what most people do with AI is like they'll open ChatGPT or Claude and they'll type in like write me a post about some topic, right? Or
Yeah.
something like that. Or
Yeah.
they'll give it a bit of context and then they'll have this one really long chat and then everything is like in that one chat. But the problem is with that type of strategy is like it doesn't really know who the content is being targeted towards or what content performs on social media. Okay, because like there's really two such important things. There's like who is it speaking to? And then also like how should the content be formatted for this individual platform? So for example, like rather than just getting in a chat, what I'll do is I'll have a Claude project. And then basically in that Claude project, what that means is that I've trained it on me and my business. I've trained it on my offer.
Mhm.
I've trained it on like basically who's unqualified and what words it should not use. Um, like those are really like the most important things to then be training it on. But then after that, it really needs to understand the specific like frameworks for each individual platform. So then the way you do that inside a Claude project is you can have a style. So a Claude style is basically like the formatting.
Hmm.
basically. Like, so for if I want to get a viral post on Facebook, I have like a Facebook viral post generator style. Whereas if I want to generate like leads from my Facebook story, I'll use my Facebook story lead gen style, right? And so on and so forth for like Instagram, LinkedIn, and all the other platforms, even email, right? And so I think it's just like those small nuances make a really, really, really big difference. And the way that I basically figured out the styles and what they should be, like I'm very lucky because I get to see just probably like you with events, right? Like you get to see the back end of so many different events. I get to
Yeah.
see the back end of like tons of different social. I mean, I literally had a girl message me yesterday or the day, no, the day before yesterday. And I actually met her in Croatia about 4 years ago, just at the Hilton, right? Like in the gym. And we stayed connected. And this girl has 1,300,000 followers on her Instagram, okay? 1.3 mil. And she sent me a message and she's like, "Hey Lauren, I gotta be really honest, but I'm not making any money from my social media. Can you help me?"
Wow.
1.3
Wow.
Right, she has a massive audience talking about like health, and I'm like, yes, what? And then I had this other guy who I've met, like literally, I met him like 10 years ago at these fitness expos because I was also doing fitness stuff before. This guy has 1.8 million. He doesn't have an offer, nothing. He's just
Boggles my brain.
he's just
What
doing an
are you
affiliate.
doing?
Yeah, so he was
You are
he was
not
like,
in business.
no, he's not. But he was like, yeah, I don't have any business right now. Can we make a win-win? And I was like, well, no. It's like it doesn't work like, because that's how they always want it, isn't it? Like making anyway, you probably know this. So my point though is so if there's people like that, right, that are really good at getting reach, but they make no money. So when you copy their posts, you don't know that it's not doing anything for them,
Yeah.
right? Like literally it's
It's
the
not
biggest.
being monetized at
No, no.
all.
So you can't copy what they're doing. Like, I mean, Shay, you probably see this too. How many people are there who like supposedly have really successful business that they don't? They really don't, right? And so it's like you have to be really careful what you're copying. So to my point though, what I did is I took the post that I know these people are making money because I see their numbers, right? And so based upon that, I was able to figure out which content like actually generates leads, what style of content, how is it formatted? And then basically I just take the top 100 and then I turn them into frameworks. So then I'm left with somewhere between 10 and 20 frameworks for each different style. Then based on those frameworks, I feed that to the AI and I get it to create with a style guide, right? And so that's
Interesting.
essentially how I'm able to create the styles. But there's different styles for reaching strangers, because that's like one type of audience. Like that person's never seen you before. So as they're scrolling, they're just going to be thinking like, who's this Lauren girl with a British accent? Like, and what's she here to tell me? So they're going to
Yes.
be thinking that in their head, right? And so that type of content, it has to speak in a different language than content that you're trying to convert leads. Because obviously people who are going to be more likely to convert into leads that are already in your audience, they're the ones who, if you spend time trying to lead gen from them, you're going to make like it's the best use of your time. Because if you're going to try lead gen on strangers, it's a very big hurdle. And then finally, the final one is like prospects, right? There's also prospects in your audience, and the way you speak to them is going to be different than the way you speak to the current audience members that you either want to generate leads from or connect with, right? So there's kind of four different styles really. Content to get strangers to follow, content to connect with your existing audience, content to convert your existing audience, and then content basically for prospects to get them to take the sales action. I tend to do less of that and more of the first three. I don't do as much direct sales on social media. Like I never mention like the name of my offers or anything there because I want to get them. I prefer getting them off social media on my sales process. Some of
Mm.
my clients though, when they're like really busy or they're working with super like high net worth or whatever, like they'll just put out offers every week directly on social, but it won't be like, do you want to sign up to my event blueprint, message me to see about working together? It would be more like, are you looking to generate a six-figure event in 2025? I'm taking on a small number of business owners to work closely with, where I'll run your entire event for you. All you have to do is show up, message me the word info, and let's chat to see if it's a fit. Like that's how, for example, a post would be if you were doing
Wow.
like a direct offer on social media.
Yeah.
Um, So basically, with AI, the way that it's really fast is like set up a Claude project. I find Claude does write the best copy, and then use the styles inside of Claude. Don't just use the basic text functionality. Like configure the styles, because it will. You can then have multiple different styles, and then your work. You just take like one topic idea, and then you just make it for Facebook organic, you make it viral, you make it for
Yeah.
Instagram, all the different platforms.
So I would assume you probably have like these four projects or whatever that you like install into your clients' businesses, right? And
Yeah,
it'll
it's usually
like
just one
tailor it
project.
to them.
Yeah, just it only really needs to be one project, but it's the
Okay.
thing that's different is the styles. Because for
Okay.
example, like some, you could even like look at my social media. Like you can see it on a day by day basis. Like if anyone stalks like my LinkedIn versus my Facebook, you'll see more or less the same content. It's just formatted a bit differently.
Hmm.
Because for example, like on LinkedIn, one of the weird things is like every line needs to be less than 48 characters and every sentence should fit onto just one line. So, for example, like that's like a rule. Like, for example, I was just in Japan, and when I'm there, it's super weird. Like, when you're crossing the road on the pedestrian crossing, like in London, if there's no cars around, but that thing is red, you just go, right? Like, or you just leg it and just hope for the best. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
But in Japan, right? Like, if there's no cars, like, and no other pedestrians anywhere near you, if that thing is red telling you don't cross the street, you don't cross it because it's the culture there. So the same thing happens on social media. Like the different platforms have a different culture. So
Mm.
LinkedIn's culture, like you just write like that, right? Whereas on Facebook right now, again, this will change. It works if you just put like this big sort of colored blob and then put all of your content in the comments. That's just what works right now. On Instagram, it's reels, right? Like you speak what the text says to the camera. So it's just the different style of content for the different platform. Really, you have to adjust because if you just copy and paste the same stuff on there, it's not going to work. And if you take short form video snippets from things like this, right,
Yeah.
and post that on social media, that can be really good for like your existing audience, but it's not going to consistently get you reach because it doesn't have a hook that's designed to get reach, right? So if you wanted to make that work, you'd be better off just taking the topic that you spoke about and then refilming that as a script so that it would get more reach.
Interesting. Because you do hear people talking about like just take the long form content that you have, cut it
Yeah.
up, chop it up, and then stick it out there, and now you've got 6 months worth of content from, one long form post or something, right? Crazy. But you're
It
saying
sounds
it's
really
not
nice.
gonna get you the reach that you're really looking for.
Well, there's like a difference between content that fills space and content that generates revenue, right? So like I'm in the content that drives revenue space. This is actually a slight predicament for me because like I have the number one competition that we hear is not like a different company. It's I'm gonna just hire an agency to edit videos for me and post them, right? So the interesting thing I was thinking was it's really funny because people know they need to put out content and they think that they just need more content and that's going to solve their problem. But like I said before, they don't have a strategy. That's obviously where like we really come in. But my point was, I was actually really thinking about just creating an agency just to put out content for the sake of content to bring people in and educate them that this isn't going to solve their problems. I didn't do it in the end because I don't really want to run a video agency, but it was just something that I was thinking about because like that's what people think they need, but they don't. I mean, I've had so many people do that and they come back 6 months later after they had that one day turn into 6 months of content and it's done bugger all for them.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
it's just,
It's like, okay, well, I've like you said, it's filled the space.
yeah.
But so if somebody is listening right now and they're like, okay, cool, I get it. Fill the space versus revenue. I want to go the revenue route. What
Mhm.
would be like the first steps that they need to be taking to go that route?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the main thing you can do immediately is in your sales conversations, right? Like, or if you're running events and you're doing sales events and you're getting questions, right? Make a list and keep a list of all of the questions that people have or the problems they tell you they have as to why they signed up, or even like your client intake forms, right? Like Why did the client sign up with you? Keep that list, okay? Because that's going to basically be your best content that drives leads and
Mhm.
that drives sales. Because then you can tie offers around that. So when I say offers, I don't just mean like the one I made for you just a moment ago, Shay, about like running the six-figure event or whatever. I'm talking like lead gen offers as well. So for example, like if you're running a webinar or something, um, you would take the most common problem that you're hearing in your sales process and you would basically tie that into a very short, punchy post for social media that you can then basically get people to respond to or just click the link and then they're going to sign up for your training, right? So, for example, like let's just say you are helping people with back pain. I don't know, it's just a really easy example, back pain or whatever. So they keep telling you like they can't run around with their kids anymore and it's making them feel lazy. Let's just say that's what they say their issue is. It's like, are you struggling to run around with your kids because your back pain is so bad? I'm gonna share the 3 steps to back pain method for free today. Message me the word uh,
Back.
back and I'll send you the link, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so basically, you took the pain and you tied it into the thing that you're giving them. You didn't call it a webinar or a freebie. You literally basically told them you're going to give them the solution, and then they respond to that thing. So like that's one of the easiest things that like anyone could do right now, right? You can just post that on all your platforms with a photo of you or just a plain colored text. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. And then basically that's one layer to the, like I call it like a social media sales system, right? Like it's one layer. You know, the next layer obviously is going to be layering in content that reaches more strangers. And that's something that you've got to be consistent with, right? And like
Mhm.
you have to make sure that it's actually like I call it like it's basically top of the funnel content. What it is getting new strangers into your world. That's something where you want to be posting that type of content at least 4 or 5 times a week. Right. And
Mhm.
again, it doesn't need to take a lot of time. I'm not talking blog posts here. This is simple content. I mean, these pieces take 5 to 10 minutes each because it's basic stuff. Because it has to be really like simplified so that when a stranger finds it for the first time, like they're gonna follow you. I'll give you an example. Like I just had, oh, so annoying. I just had this ultrasound yesterday and they told me I got 2 hernias. And I'm like, are you having a laugh? I'm so annoyed by this. So I was feeling really hopeless earlier. And so I went on YouTube. I'm honest. I haven't told it. I've only told one person this so far. And basically, I get on YouTube and I'm typing in like, is it possible to cure a hernia without surgery? Because I really don't want to do that, right? And I found this one guy, and he's like telling me, yes, you can cure the hernia without surgery. Here's my story. Here's how I did it. So I followed that guy, right? And
Yeah.
now I'm like binging his content, right? And he's
Yeah.
got a course, and I'm honestly considering buying it already because I was just immediately like, yes. So he's done it right. What he's done is he's got content for strangers that makes them, they see the content, they'll follow him. And then like they start binging him as I did. And then I see that he's got a lead gen. So I signed up on his email list. Okay. And he sent some pretty good emails. So I already became like a lead for him.
Mhm.
And then next thing you know, right now I'm scrolling his content again and I found out he's got this course and I'm now consideration phase in my head. I literally found this guy maybe 4 hours ago, okay? And I'm already considering to buy this course for a couple grand.
Yeah.
Now, why? Because I have a problem and he tells me he can solve it and he has like legitimate information there that's really bite-sized. It's not complicated. It's very easily digestible for me, but I don't have enough to piece it together. And I know that I need a solution to do that and I can't figure it out on my own. So this it's funny, like that idea just came to me of that example right now while we were speaking, but it's actually a really, really good example because you can then see how all the different styles of content fit together, right? The one that made me follow him is obviously not the one where I'm going to buy from him because I didn't know he had a course in that piece of content. I
Yep.
only found out about his course in a later client interview video that he had posted, whereby he was just basically highlighting how someone started doing these stretches and it fixed the hernia. So I was like, oh, interesting. He has a course. Cool. Tell me more.
Right? Yeah. And I've done the same thing myself, even buying high ticket. As somebody was like, I somehow came across them on social media and was like, huh, that's interesting. Let me go ahead and dive in a little bit more. Oh, here's a private podcast, not open to the public, where you actually had to give your email. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's brilliant. Okay, keep going. And it was inside this private podcast part, there was probably 3 or 4 hours of content and teaching and case studies and all of that to then obviously introduce their high ticket offer. And I was like, all right, I'll click it. And I'm like, all right, I'll buy it, you know? Because you, like you said, you've binged it.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating that
Yeah.
there's multiple ways to do it. And this coach does events. They do in-person, type of things. They also do the social media phase of it, right? It just really depends on the person and how they want to come into your world, which I think is
100%.
fascinating. But it's a system. You can
Totally.
tell it's a system, and that's what you need in place, right?
Totally. Yeah. And like the other thing is, we didn't speak about it here, but like the other play is like with if someone's in the early phases, like you mentioned, and they're wanting to like get it all started, like one of the really easy, fast things that you can do as you're just posting this content more for like the strangers is basically leverage the DMs. So you're then able to give in public, sell in private. And that also means that you're not like spamming your social media with like sales. You can have a VA. I mean, it really does work because I call the type of DMing like outbound on inbound. So you're only doing outbound on people that have like come inbound to you first.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise, spending all this time on like this cold DMing is not a good use of time. But I mean, I've worked with companies like Founder. I was also just speaking with like James Swanwick's team. He basically has like a really big quit alcohol program, basically just guiding them on, how they can literally just reach out to all the people that are engaging in their content and everything. But like for example, with Founder, in the first week they did it, it added 27.5K in cash collected, right? Like just from touching people that were engaging with their content. They just had one person on their team doing that. But it's amazing how much you can actually do. And this is the type of thing that can, like these small little things, they can massively scale. Like I have one girl on my team, she does 400 a day, right? And
400 what?
400 contacts a day. She messages 400 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like in sort of like I remember like beginner coaching programs, they'll tell you like message 50 people a day or whatever. But like if you have someone on your team that's all they're doing, they can do like 400 a day. She even sometimes does 600 a day when we're running an event and we're getting signups and everything. So but obviously in order to do that, you need to have people engaging with your content, adding you as a connection, following you, friending you, and all that
Super
stuff. So
cold. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just like another quick little thing though. You can contact those people because then that can also start conversations and get them into your sales process.
Yeah. Interesting. This has been amazing. I would love for you to like let's switch it a little bit and talk about what's next.
Hmm.
What is the brave move that you are leaning into now? And are you going to be doing more events? Are you doing more one-on-one visibility? Are you doing more AI? Are you doing like what's next for you in the business and what do you see happening in the marketplace that our listeners should be paying attention to?
Well, I think with the events, it's huge because like with AI now, people want that personalized touch, right? So it's massive. I definitely broke the 4 minute mile, right? Via doing this 3 day, no, it was a 5 day. This was a 5 day virtual event. In total, we got like so far cash collected about 160K, which is cool because there's going to be more coming through from like the back end payments and everything. So this was really so crazy for me because I'm honest, I thought it would maybe do something like 40K. I just didn't, I really had no expectation. But I thought we'd get the ticket sales and then not sell anyone. Like, and then I thought we were gonna have to like take that list of leads, phone all of them, book sales calls. But no, we didn't have to do any of that. That was super cool. So for me, what's next? Like, I'm actually really just trying to simplify things and do less, actually do a lot less, but just do it better.
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of that phase where like over the last 10 years or so doing this type of work, I tried a lot of different ways of like delivering the result, right? But I've came to a really good way whereby it's just like we take them through this now this virtual event, I found that the virtual event brings in a better client because they come in more educated.
Yep.
They come in with their mindset having already had the shifts that sometimes take a really long time for a client to have. So that is super cool. Um, from there, just keep helping people with organic social media. And like, I'm just really trying to only work with people who are like legit really good at what they do. Because I just find that these people are much easier to help. And also, it's like a better kind of, I feel better to do it. Like, it feels more exciting. I don't know sometimes if you ever feel this way, but it's like, you know, you could kind of just like stop this in any time, right? Like, I don't really like need to do this. So it's like, how can I just do the things like I want to do? So I've been having some like battles in my mind about that lately, just because, yeah, it's like a weird thought. But basically, just simplifying what I'm doing. I really love these events because it's really fun, and also like I legit feel like good by doing it and helping people that way. And just continue, yeah, basically running the programs that we're running.
Yeah, beautiful. What would you say is the thing that people need to be aware of in the content social media world? Is there a trend about to happen? Is there something that you're seeing pop up that is going away? Um, shouldn't be doing anymore?
So I was talking to someone like 2 days ago, and basically he kept telling me, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna start on my content in like a year, or maybe like in a year and a bit, right?"
Yeah.
And I was telling him, well, the thing is, right, like, why do you want to do this anyway? Like, what's even the reason why you want to do it? Because I think when you know why you're wanting or even considering doing something, you can decide whether it's the right thing for you to do or not, right? So, for example, like for him, he wanted to help people and he also wanted like a platform to generate clients for his business. I'm like, well, every day that goes by, someone else is building the audience that you could otherwise be building. And then like it just kind of like lit a fire under his ass and he was like, okay, I'm gonna start posting right away. But to be honest, I'm not one of these people. I don't follow trends and any of this. I don't do that. Like for me, this is all psychology, like all of it. It's psychology and copywriting, social media. And so like I'm just looking at it through that lens because things always change, right? Like the medium changes, the platforms change, the ways to write the copy change, but like what doesn't change is what makes people move and how they take action, and then basically how can you get in their mind to make them take action towards what you're wanting to get them to do. So that's basically a skill that I'm continually looking to like hone in on. So rather than maybe like answering the question in like the traditional way, I
Mhm.
think to be honest, like the better thing to do is like study psychology, study like what creates movements, like study um even like when you study, for example, like political movements. I'm not into politics or anything. I'm not even from USA, but like I just say that because I know this is a touchy subject in America. But like it's really interesting when you look at like how they come up with their slogans and then what type of slogan the people who won the
It's
election use.
marketing.
Yeah,
It's like if you look at it from that perspective, it's amazing.
it's super interesting, right?
Getting
So
people to move, getting people to buy into a movement, getting people to, pick up what you're selling essentially. Yeah,
100%. If you don't like it,
fascinating.
then even more reason to learn it. So
But
it doesn't
then
work
it's
with you.
also looking at, okay, this is my ideal audience, this is not. So part of the
Correct.
marketing is telling who's not a part of your world and who could be your potential buyers, right? It
Totally.
is fascinating. I agree with you.
It's
Absolutely.
so interesting. Yeah. And so basically, I think getting back to those basics, right? And understanding the psychology of what gets people to take action on things, and understanding just basic copywriting principles. I mean, if you can learn that stuff, like you basically then, when it comes to social media, it comes down to knowing your ideal client and just understanding the formats for the different platforms. Because when you learn the different formats for the different platforms, they do change, right? That's the other thing. They do change. But all it is then slotting your people's psychology into what works on each individual platform.
Yeah, brilliant. Lauren, if somebody was interested in learning more on how to work with you, or hearing more about your teachings and your contents, what's the best way for them to connect with you? And do you happen to have a gift for our audience today?
Yeah, totally. For your audience, I'll give them something special. So we're going to be running a paid event. But if they message the word Shay, basically to my Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, then I'll give them the ticket for free. My socials are just my name, so Lauren Tickner, LaurenTickner. You'll find me on all the platforms, Lauren Tickner. Just message Shay, we'll get you that free ticket. And basically, we'll break down the social media sales system and then how to use it for your business, right? Like how the whole thing fits together, how it works. We always have a lot of fun on those sessions as well. So that's what I love about these sessions. They're so good. It's
Yeah.
super fun. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for doing that for our audience. I guess my last question is, what is one belief you think every entrepreneur needs to let go of to truly scale?
That you got to reply to stuff instantly. Oh my gosh, I had to learn that one myself. I was freaking out all the time by Slack. I was literally freaking out by Slack and like I totally had to mute everything and I just muted everything and I swear like waking up and just not touching my phone and like the night before I always close all the other tabs except the one that I want to work on in the morning and basically I don't touch anything until I meditated and I swear I'm a better person from this like it's so it has helped me so much and like it's interesting because I also find then like my team thinks for themselves and my clients like I'll see them post a question and then because we didn't reply within like 5 minutes like I used to freak out about I see they delete the question because they didn't even need to ask it. It's super funny. Yeah, so that is definitely one belief I would suggest entrepreneurs let go of for a more peaceful mind.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much for being with us today, Lauren. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. Make sure that you click the link in the show notes to pick up your ticket to that event. It sounds really good and fascinating. And please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for being on another episode of Creating Powerful Impact, and we will see you next time. Until then, take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.